You're listening to Permission to Shine, the podcast by Sherisse Bisram. The Oxford Dictionary describes permission as the action of officially allowing someone to do a particular thing, consent, authorization. What if you were that someone and you gave yourself the permission to be everything you wanted to be and more? No more playing small and accepting less than. You are worthy of the life of your dreams, regardless of what it is that you've been through. And honestly, it's exactly what you've been through that has shaped you into the version of yourself that you are now. Like a diamond, you've endured so much, but instead of breaking, you have become stronger and brighter. And if that's not a reason to shine, then I don't know what is. And if nature can do it, then why the hell can't you? You are brave, you are strong, you are powerful, and you are enough. Hear my call and give yourself the permission to shine, because you don't realise how many people are inspired by your light. Like, share, follow, subscribe, and listen out for more. Stay tuned. Hi everyone, this is episode 15 and I am delighted to have Nour with me today. Now, I was actually on Nour's podcast myself and it was one of the first podcasts I'd done, and we had such a beautiful conversation, and there was likeness in, our upbringing and things like that and our passions, and I just felt like I've got to get her onto my podcast. So, hi Nour, welcome.
Hi, Charles. Thank you for the invitation. I remember our episodes. Clearly, we had fun and we had a conversation even after the recording.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt more close to you as a person. So it wasn't just a podcaster who actually invited someone. They talked about just some stuff and then it went away. I felt like we kept on following each other on Instagram. We kept on like knowing about each other and following our updates. So yeah, it was pretty nice, and I'm so excited to be here today, and I'm excited of this episode.
Amazing, thank you. And yeah, do you know what? That's a really important part, I think, about my character as well, is that I like to add humanness to everything. Like I feel like that genuine connection thing for me is really important, because I think that's what the world's missing. So I'm really grateful that you found that, and that was a really nice thing for you in the experience for you. But
Yeah.
please do tell us about yourself. Where are you currently in the world right now? Where are you from? Tell us everything.
Okay. Okay. So hi everyone again. My name is Nour. I'm 23 years old. I actually live in Tunisia. More exactly, I grew up in an island, which is a touristic island. So if ever anyone here has come before and they have discovered Jerba, it's an island where people come and visit because it's a beautiful one. So I grew up there till the age of 18, 19. And then I came to Tunis, the capital, which is 8 hours away from Jerba by the bus. So it's kind of far away. Because it's in the south. And I furthered here my studies in university as an English student. But then I had a job and now I'm working. And Jerba is kind of a place where I grew up in an area where it's a little bit conservative, I guess. I had a different childhood, I guess, from others in the north here. My family is a little bit conservative, my friends too, so I didn't have, I guess, a lot of fun in my childhood. I was just studying all the time, not going out all the time, not having enough time with my friends and stuff like that. So I'm trying now to enjoy my life as an adult and try to catch up what I didn't see before and what I didn't experience. But yeah, it's a beautiful place, it's a beautiful country, and I would like anyone to make their own researches and come and visit maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like you just saying that just then reminded me. I was like, yeah, why am I not going there? I need to go
Yeah,
there.
and you can contact me and I can be your guide, like anyone who's listening, and specifically you, Cheris. I would be so glad to meet you in person. So welcome.
Yeah, I love that. Holiday invitation as well as a podcast guest. Amazing.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit more about your, I guess I think when I last met you, you just finished your education and you were about to start work. So the work that you do now, is that related to your studies? What inspired you into that? And also, like you mentioned about your conservative upbringing, has that sort of shaped, where you're at now in your life?
Okay, yeah, so definitely it does. The fact that I grew up in a conservative place, I had a lot of dreams before. I was so ambitious, but since I had a lot of limits and constructions to follow and parents and stuff like that, I couldn't actually do them. But I'm so happy that now when I moved to Tunis, the capital, I get to open up a little bit about the world, about my dreams, about my career. So yeah, I work as a journalist. I'm actually content creator on the page of Faza Pointen. It's actually a well-known Instagram, Facebook page in Tunisia. We meet a lot of people, a lot of celebrities. We make events and we attend events. It's kind of the digital world now. It's no longer TV and it's no longer, this kind of ancient stuff. Now it's more Instagram pages and Facebooks that are actually trying to show us the world and what's going on. So this is what we do. I'm a content creator there. And I didn't study actually journalism. I studied English literature and civilization. But then, since I had a podcast and I wrote a book, they found out that my CV is a little bit interesting. So when I applied, they accepted me, and this is the job of my dreams. It has always been something that I want to reach, especially at this company that everybody knows and want to work there. I'm so proud of myself at this age that I'm working such a job. It's giving me a lot of opportunities. It's making me meet a lot of people. It's making me see events and attend and have fun. All these things that I couldn't do when I was in Jerba, I am doing them right now. And I'm really living the best of it. So I guess I'm kind of proud of that and I'm so happy for that. But yeah, there's definitely that part of me who's introverted, who always wants to stay home, who's homesick a little bit because I don't get to see my parents a lot, and my siblings are abroad. So my sister is in Canada, and my brother is in Sweden. So I don't get to see them often, and I don't get to see my partner as well. So all the people that I love are away. So yeah, I try to make my time full time and try to keep myself busy. But yeah, I guess in a way or another, this is whom I'm becoming. A little bit independent, a little bit realizing my dreams, and a little bit my childhood is still carrying that heaviness of conservatism that I still that I still handle till this day, because even though you try to be independent, your parents will always try to follow your footsteps and make limits, but you gotta try to make it work.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy for you that, you've got this dream job and you have moved, because I know that when I spoke to you last, that was something that you wanted to do. So I'm so
Yeah,
happy for you, and I'm so glad that you feel proud of yourself as well. And
thank
I love that, you mentioned the fact that there's still a part of you that is homesick and you do follow these conservative rules, because it just shows how multifaceted we are as humans. We need all sides of us in order to feel and be whole.
yeah,
And I think, I know it's hard when you miss people and those things, but equally, I guess the double-edged sword is the fact that you get to live your dreams, you're doing your dream
yeah,
job, you're in your dream city, and I guess people have to travel to see you, or you travel to see them. So I guess in a way,
yeah,
there's always an element of fulfillment, isn't there? Because you love to see the world and all of those things. So yeah, I mean, I'm sad that you don't get to see them every day, but I think equally, like you said, you found that bit of freedom in what you're doing right now. And I guess that kind of leads me on to, I mean, the fact that you wrote your book, and I'd love to just know a little bit more about, and tell the listeners about, what your book's about, what inspired it. And yeah, tell us a bit about that, really.
yeah. So basically, my book's title is The World Through Greeny Eyes. So, fun fact, my eyes are green, and yeah, the title is a little bit related to me and to my life. So during the lockdown, during 2020, I started writing my book and finished writing, editing the cover, and all of that in 2022. And it was published in December 2022. It actually talks about mental health, about what we go through as adults and at the same time as teenagers. So it's both ways. It talks about love life, distance, family, friends, toxicity, whether in relationships or even when we are toxic. I talked a lot about also social media, depression, and anxiety, these kind of things that actually influence our life. And whether we like it or not, we try to avoid our feelings. Sometimes we try to deny it. We try to always get away from all these feelings and move on all the time without healing. So my book is not actually about healing, but it's kind of an awakening that you have to pay attention to your feelings, to what you go through, to give importance to whatever comes to you in life, to all the feelings, to make them valid, to accept them, to try and find solutions, no matter how hard and low you feel. All of these things that I wanted to hear before, and I didn't find somebody else to tell me and to convince me about it. I kind of grew up knowing these things, and I'm a person who grew up healing by themselves. I had no one by my side, and I was my only friend. So I tried to write the things to people so that if they are in the same condition, they do feel and understand that they are not alone. And I'm so happy because all the people who bought my book, they got the idea. They all thanked me because they didn't feel alone. They all appreciated it. They all felt like they are not alone, and they were like, "Thank you for telling us how to deal with our emotions. And now we know that you did too. You did feel that too. We're sorry about that." And a lot of people who didn't know before that I deal with depression and anxiety and attacks and stuff like that, they came to talk to me, and they're like, if you need help or a friend to like listen or any advice, we're here for you. But yeah, now of course I am feeling much better. The past is the past, and I moved on, and thank God, like everything is getting better. But yeah, I kind of wanted to spread this word to people and to let them know that our life, our successful life, um, it's not actually as it seems, because a lot of people can see you successful, but they will never understand how hard it is to be successful, and how hard you've been trying, and how hard you've been dealing with all the emotions behind and the struggles. So I wanted to show people that dark side, that it doesn't mean that if you see me happy, smiling, or successful, it means that I feel it, or as if I didn't work for it. So you have to know like reality. So it's kind of the iceberg, but inside in the ocean, and not only on the top on what you see. Yeah, this is it.
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely. And so much of what you said there really resonates with, everything that I do now, the work that I do now, and my own life journey, really, which I think is probably originally why we had so much in common, because I think that idea of,
Yeah.
self-soothing and feeling quite alone in, your healing and covering up the vulnerability to the outside world and just getting on with it. Like, as you said, people don't understand what you're going through unless you tell them. And actually, probably quite similar to you, I didn't tell people how I felt. So I
Yeah.
was fighting the internal battles on my own. And it was only probably around the same sort of time, around lockdown, when I actually looked at myself in the mirror and I thought, I need to do some deep healing here, because I can't continue to live my life like this. And that was when I started to really open up. So now I feel like I'm the most open I've ever been, but equally I know there's still space to grow and to be more open. But yeah, and I think that that's really, I always say, like, we're a mirror of our own universe. So I feel like because I was closed off and inward a lot, I was meeting those types of people as well. You know, I was encountering people that were quite closed off, or maybe not as open as they could be, because they were reading that from me. Whereas now I've found that I'm open, I'm more vulnerable, and I'm sharing this like mental health journey, the processes that I went through and the tools that had helped me, similar to you, you know,
Yeah.
that people are opening up to me too and saying, you know, I'm so glad you shared that, you know, I needed to hear that. And I think that, you know, just that part of my journey led me into doing the mentoring now, and like, you know, the teaching with the mental health practices and the tools, for that exact same reason, that I just don't want anyone else to go through what I did on my own, feeling isolated. So I think that there's our golden thread there, isn't it, of both of our stories kind of linking to the fact
Yeah.
that just helping more people, isn't it?
Yeah, and I guess everyone is going through a lot, like,
Mm,
already. And I kind of feel like COVID made it appear more.
yeah.
I don't know why, but I feel like after COVID, everything's changing. The planet is changing. People have
Mm,
changed. Everything just showed up,
yeah.
and it's kind of like the reality spreading, whether
Yeah.
how the planet is reacting, whether how people are trying now to deal more with their mental health, are trying to make it important. They're talking more about it. A lot of people went to see a professional help, and it's amazing because I remember that, like, maybe, I don't know, like 7 years ago, 8 years ago, people would never like tell you that they are seeing like a psychotherapist,
Therapist. Yeah.
or they are dealing with something, or that mental health is important or whatever. I feel like it was something that people feel embarrassed to talk about, and now
Mm,
people are so opening up about it, and they're trying to encourage others to seek help, especially professional help. So it's
yeah.
amazing. I feel like it's getting a little bit like popular, but at the same time, I guess it's for our good sake.
Absolutely. And I think you said the right word earlier about your book. It's the awakening. I think
Yeah,
that in lockdown, like you said, people had no other choice but to deal with their emotions. Whereas when the
yeah,
world's moving at 100 miles an hour, we're just getting things done, aren't we? And it's only when we stop and pause, which I found a lot of the time with my own mental health, you know, being a professional dancer before the lockdown, I was doing like 100 jobs a day, running at 100 miles an hour. And it was only when I stopped to like go on holiday or whatever, I'd either get really ill or I'd get stressed out, and then I'd spend the whole holiday kind of thinking and reflecting and all of that, which is obviously beautiful things to do, but I should have been doing that all the time, you know, pausing to like actually embrace life and not be running so fast. And I think yeah, it was just the exhaustion. So I feel like when we had that opportunity, we had no other choice but to sit down with ourselves. And I hope that, you know, that's really what's inspired people now. And you know what, if it is a fad and it is a phase that people are in, at least it's one that's beneficial rather than one that's going to be detrimental in the long run. You know, there's no harm that can be done from people healing, you know, which you know,
of course.
so I think it's a great thing. And I think it's amazing that you know, I think even your podcast in a particularly conservative area, like you said, where you're from, you know, the fact that you created that space and was brave enough to speak up, I think is like really powerful as well, because it just shows that although you're respectful of where you live, you equally are aware that there's things that need to be said, which I think was something that I really connected with you on that, because I just felt like, you know, clearly you are a change maker, and I identify that as too, you know. So yeah, it's a really powerful, like beautiful space that I feel like we're in, you know, we're making these changes in the world through our own lived experience. And I think it doesn't really get much richer than that, you know. That's the good part, I think, of life.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it was so scary at first when it
Mm,
comes to starting my podcast or my book. Even the podcast channel's name is Speak Up.
mm,
And when I thought about it, I was like, okay, I need a name that actually resonates. But then I was like, why don't I name my channel like Speak Up? Because we don't actually speak up.
mm,
And I couldn't speak up before, like ever. No matter what happens, I couldn't tell my opinion. And even if I do, they would never take it into consideration. So I was like, okay, I need something that actually makes sense
mm,
and that I relate to. That's why I named it Speak Up. Even though I was so busy with work lately and I didn't post for a while now, but summer is here, so finally I have more time to do it, and I'm gonna restart doing that hopefully soon. And same with my book, because I was so scared, like so scared, because the book was actually my life.
Mm,
Each chapter was my life, and people, whenever they read it, they're like, "Oh my God, you've lived this, you've seen that, you've felt that. You
mm,
were young." They start criticizing you, and I remember something that I would never ever forget, which was last year. So I went back to my faculty and I want to see my favorite teacher.
mm,
Okay. And I told her, can you please read my book and edit the grammar mistakes and stuff like that?
mm-hmm,
Because for those who don't know, which for sure everyone here, I self-published and I didn't work with any publishing house. So I was so obliged to do everything by myself.
mm,
So I was like, okay, I have great teachers that taught me so well, and they are so talented, especially this teacher. When I went to give her the copy, and I told her, please, can you check this for me and stuff like that. I told her about what the book talks about. I was so disappointed because she was like, remind me, how old are you? And I was like, I'm 22. Last year I was 22. I told her I'm 22. By the way, she loves me, but I don't know why she did that, because she's always been supportive. She was like, okay, I'm a little bit busy with exams, corrections, and stuff like that. I can do this for you, but it's gonna take some time and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, that's okay. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you, and I want you to read it and give me your opinion. Okay. So she was like, is it actually an autobiography? And I was like, yeah, a little bit, I guess. Because like the ending and the ending and the start are a little bit fictional, but all the rest is 100% true. So I was like, yeah, you can say it's a little autobiography, but with two characters who actually represent me. She was like, aren't you like too young to write an autobiography? And for a moment, I was shocked
wow.
because she actually knows a lot about me, because we were we were friends more than a teacher student relationship.
Mm,
And I was like, teacher, you know me, like, you know what I've been going through these 3 years at college. You've been always there for me. You've always supported me. You know how many like personal problems I have, though you only know 1%. But like, I'm going through a lot.
yeah.
And with all what I'm going through, I can write an autobiography. It doesn't matter how old I am.
Mm,
I've lived stuff that others who are older than me told me by themselves that they've never faced these kind of struggles. And they always applaud for me, like how I moved on from these traumas and these problems. And so I was so mad. I remember I was so mad. And I took that copy from her and I was like, I'm sorry, I cannot wait to publish it. So I cannot wait for you to edit that for me, because she told me it might even take a year.
oh,
And I was like,
wow.
what? A year? Ain't no way. Like, ain't no way. That was on October, and I published my book in September. So it was like 2 months later, I did everything by my own and I published it. And I'm so happy that I didn't wait for anyone,
Yeah.
because I'm sure if I've waited for someone to do that for me, I would actually I won't be an author today. So I'm actually so happy about it, and I've sold a lot of copies, and it was in the International Fair Book here in Tunisia, and
Nice.
yeah, I'm so proud of it. But when it got successful, and when I had copies at college, yes, a lot of my friends and teachers bought it. I was like, okay, see how successful now I am? Like, do you still think that I cannot write an autobiography? And she has seen how successful it is. A lot of magazines talked to me. I went to a lot of radio stations. I had an opportunity to go to a TV show, but I didn't want to for some personal reasons. But yeah, I was like, no, ain't no way you tell me what I should do and what I cannot do and what I can do. And this is kind of a message to people who are listening. Like, never ever listen to any critique that will actually upset you, even if it's from someone you love and you respect and you appreciate. If it doesn't go with what your guts are telling you, just don't listen to it.
Absolutely that. 100%. And you know what I think it is more than anything is jealousy by the sounds of it. Like I
Yeah.
think, you know, she should have at least read your book and then gave you the thing of saying maybe she thought you were too young, not just assuming on the back of her own ego, you know. And yeah, I'm sad that that happened, but equally I feel like it gave you the fire to push forward and to get it
Yeah.
done, like you said. And equally, you know, I know, like you said, you grew up being introverted and all of these things, but each stage that you've taken in your life, you know, doing the podcast, doing the book, it's led you into this version of yourself that you are now, this, you know, empowered version of you, which is really what this podcast is about, you know. And I guess you know, the podcast is called Permission to Shine. So do you feel like it was at that moment that you felt like you gave yourself full permission, or do you feel like it was before that?
The moment that she made me upset.
As in, like, because obviously she told you no and you were like, right, I'm going to do this all on my own then, even more so. Do you
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
that
yeah,
was
yeah.
like that pure empowerment moment where you were like, I'm unstoppable now, nothing's going to stop me?
Yeah, because not only her, but another teacher that I also liked accepted to correct that for me. But
Mm,
then it kind of took long. So I was
mm,
like, no, I can't wait longer. I am like so in a hurry to publish it, and I'm so in a hurry to start selling my book. So I did everything by my own. I didn't wait for anyone. I kind of used some applications, Grammarly, other paid applications, my own knowledge since I have studied English before.
mm,
And I went through it over and over and over and over again through 2 months. So it was October, November, and a little bit of December because I have published it in I guess 22nd of December, yes.
mm,
So I had a little bit of time also from December to keep on making sure about how things are going to be and the editing and the grammar and etc. But yeah, at that moment I was like, Noor, this is a divine message that you should keep on doing everything by yourself since you've
mm.
already done everything by yourself. You can do this also by yourself, and you publish it by yourself, and no one would ever, do not let anyone just drag you down. And even the copyrights and the ESBN, I've bought it from US government. So I applied for the US government copyrights. I have paid and I have put my copy there. They read it. Yeah, they read it. It took them 3 weeks actually, and they sent me my certificate of acceptation. And then I bought the ESBN because I'm trying to put it on Amazon and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I've been also waiting for it to be accepted and available. So whenever it would be, I will tell you guys,
yeah.
so you can buy it. But yeah, I'm trying to put it internationally. I don't actually want to share it only in my country. I want it to be international. So I was like, okay, you know what? I've done everything by myself. I've been hustling by myself through all the way. It was also a surprise, by the way. Neither my friends or my family knew about it.
Oh
So
wow.
when I published it, everybody was shocked. No one knew about it. The closest people in my family, they were like, "When did you do that? We didn't know you're a writer. We didn't know you write." They loved the cover. A lot of people loved the cover. And yeah, I was like so happy and so proud of myself. And I guess so far, it's the best thing that has ever happened to me.
Oh, I love that so much. And I can feel how proud you are of yourself. And I feel like everyone deserves to feel that way about themselves, you know, to know that this was an idea based on your own lived experiences, and you've been able to use those hard times to create something really powerful and amazing that's fully your own. And I think it's incredible,
Yeah.
you know, even the fact that you applied for the copyright in America, like, you know, you're such an innovative person, and, you know, being your age and having all of this knowledge and this wisdom, it's like I'm so excited to see your journey and like where you go in 10 years time, because, you know, that would make you almost my age, you know. And I think that's exciting to see that you're able to make so much change now, you know. So what's going to happen in the next few years? I'm really excited to follow your journey. And I think the minute I saw your book was out, I was like, where can I buy it? You was like, it's not available yet. I was like,
Yeah.
no, but I
Yeah, I
will.
know, I know. And sadly, I don't even have anyone who lives in England. So even if I wanted to like
Yeah.
send it with a family member or someone, I know I actually don't have anyone there. But I am trying my best with Amazon, and I hope it gets accepted soon. So for sure, I'll be telling you.
Yeah.
And something else about change, as you've mentioned earlier,
Mm.
how we're trying to make a change. I'm so glad that a lot of clubs, school clubs, they have asked me to be a speaker, and I've been doing a lot of conferences lately, and I have one 2 days to go. Yes, it's going to be on Friday a night. It's also a well-known club and school club actually in Jerba, and all Jerba's new students and new generation, I can say they know about me now because whenever I go home, it's like people are coming to say hi and people are coming to. It's a little bit weird because I'm not used to it. And I was kind of the bullied girl before when I was at high school and prep school. So now seeing people respect me, which is the opposite of what I had in my childhood, I was like, oh my God, okay, this is a change. Yeah, and I'm like, I'm so proud of myself. I'm being a speaker every time. It's, I guess, my fourth or my fifth time this Friday. And I also have another event that I'm going to attend as a speaker during July. It's going to be a little bit a big event where there would be a lot of speakers, a lot of inspirations, and I'm so glad to be one of the people that are going to be there. And I'm going to speak and talk and tell about my experience there and try to push the new generation to do better and be less judgmental and be a little bit positive and supportive about our local, let's say, talents. So yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. I love doing the work in the schools for that reason, because I think, especially, you know, your age, you're relatable to them. It's so cool, you know, that the fact that you are, you know, you've done a book, and you know, like, just that's your full circle, isn't it? Almost, that, you know, you had a hard time at school,
yeah,
and now your book is all about how, you know, you coped with your mental health and all of these things, and the fact now that you're going full circle into schools to help the young people not, you know, either not fall into that category of being a bully, or equally how to manage themselves in those spaces. And I think that's just so powerful. So yeah, absolutely, I'm so glad that you're proud of yourself, because you absolutely deserve to be. And I think that's really amazing, you know. And yeah, I mean, I can't wait for your book to go on Amazon so I can buy it. But I
thank you.
think yeah, it's great. And I can imagine that being in a small town, not many big things like this happen. So I can imagine that, you know,
Yeah,
you are being seen as a celebrity. And even the fact that, you know, you did this quietly, and there's something about that, isn't there? You know, like, successful people always say, don't shout about your success until you've done it. You know, don't tell people
yeah,
what you're going to do until you've done it. And I feel like that was almost maybe your introvert nature protecting you in that space. You know, as an extrovert, I would naturally be telling everyone what I'm doing, because that's just who I am and how I'm inclined. But I think as an introvert, you were like, no, I'm going to keep this safe, keep it with me. And then when it's out, boom, it's like, that's where the rewards come. And I think yeah, it's really a really beautiful thing about us understanding our personalities and the reason why we do things. And even earlier you mentioned about your gut and, you know, trusting that gut. I think that's so important. And I think a lot of people don't do that. You know, they don't trust themselves. And I feel like
Yeah.
throughout your story, it's very evident to see that every stage of where you were at, you know, whether it be at the beginning when things were difficult, or, you know, through getting your education, doing the podcast, creating the book, it's like you always listen to what your soul wanted. And I think that's such a powerful thing, especially in a place where, you know, if you don't live by their expectation, it's quite scary, you know. Like I don't know what the rules are like there for like homophobia, but you know, in certain parts of the world, it's, you can't be outwardly yourself in your full expression because the death penalty is one of the things. And I know that although it's not as scary as that in terms of what the rules are, there still are a lot of rules where you live. So I think that's what I really want the audience to know, is that what you're doing is actually really groundbreaking from where you're from. Just so people can see the depth of what you've actually created here in this space is like real big change. And you know, from someone of your age, you know, and not that age is important, but for the knowledge that you've shared in your life experiences, I think it's an important factor to share because it's an asset. You know, the fact that you are 23 and you've been able to create this book based on your life that's a change making thing for where you're from is incredible. Like I'm so happy to, you know, share this message for you and with you, because as I said, you know, for my own healing journey, I know how important it is that we do speak about mental health, and especially in a place where maybe it hadn't been spoken about for so long. So yeah, well done you, as always. You know, that was, it is such a big thing.
Yeah, thank you. About following the guts, I just wanna go back to that.
Mm.
Uh, just wanna, I just wanna let people know that when I was young, I had such a low self-esteem, and I've always had some noise in my head and in my guts telling me to do things, but I never ever listened to them, and I felt so scared to do these things, and now I regret not doing them. I really, really regret the opportunities I used to have that I didn't grab, I didn't catch. I was so afraid. I was so controlled by society and family and stuff like that, that now the only thing I'm following in my life is my guts. Like the
Mm.
only thing, I no longer listen to people, I no longer listen to my family, I no longer listen to anyone. I only listen to what my heart is telling me to do. And I'm so, so super glad that whenever I do this, I come out successful and something good happens and it goes the way I want it to go. And sometimes some surprises come on the road, and I feel like, oh my God, if I didn't do this, I would never ever experience this.
Mm.
So yeah, I want to tell people, even if you have such a low self-esteem, just start following these guts and be sure that this is the way you have to follow. This is the path that you should go to. This is, I don't know, the universe, God, or whatever you believe in is telling you, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to eliminate this, you have to change this. Just do it. Just do it, and you'll see the results. It's amazing. So now, I guess step by step, when I started listening to my guts, I gained so much confidence because it brought me only positive stuff and positive results and a lot of achievements that I've never ever thought about. And a lot of miracles happened. A lot of the things that I thought are impossible became possible. So this is kind of a proof, like living proof,
Mm.
that this is what you have to do. And about the book, I was so afraid, and I thought it's going to be only for me and my friends. And I've shared only some copies with my friends. I didn't have the courage actually to publish it to everyone. But then when my best friends and a little bit of my friends circle at college and my colleagues, they read it, and they had a lot of feedbacks that I was so, so glad to read them. And they made me feel so alive. They made me feel so confident. They made me feel that my story has to be read and heard, that it gave me the courage to publish it to everyone. So even if you feel sometimes that you're going to do something wrong or you're going to keep it for yourself or whatever, know that your story has to be heard and it has to be read if ever you write. And once you start sharing your story, you'll see how many people are going to relate to you and how many lives you can change without even knowing it. I didn't notice this before, but now whenever I get Instagram messages about how I changed lives and perspectives, especially of prep school students and high schoolers, I feel like, oh my God, like I'm changing a generation. And I can't believe it. Like a lot of students are taking pictures while in class, they don't follow their teacher and they're all reading my book. A whole classroom, like the whole class is reading my book. And even the teacher called me and he was like, what did you do to these students? They're not paying attention to my lesson and everyone is holding your book. So yeah, he invited me also to go to be a speaker so that they can calm down a little bit about it. And I signed some books and I talked to some people, and some people shared their stories. They wanted an advice, and I tried to advise them the way I can. And it was amazing. So you never know what can happen next. Just do it.
Yes, I love that so much. Like that whole thing. And I feel like, when you have a low self-esteem, your ego, the voice in your head is constantly telling you you're not good enough or you can't do
Yeah,
that thing. Whereas your gut is calling to you saying, do it, you can, you
yeah,
can. And every time you say yes to your gut, you build that self-trust. And that's really what it is, what confidence is. It's just trusting yourself. So I feel like every time you've made that decision to trust yourself, the universe rewarded you for that, and I think that's such a beautiful, powerful thing. And the fact that those kids are all reading your book in the school, like,
yeah,
that's such a beautiful story. And I think I feel really privileged that I've got to watch your journey, from an outside view, because like I said, when I met you, the book was just an idea or it was
yeah.
underway, so yeah, I feel really proud of you too. I feel like, wow, look at you doing your thing. I'm just like, yes. And I think you are the epitome of like why I'm doing this. It's that permission to shine. And what I say in my podcast and like in all the talks that I do is that we each have a little light inside of us. And when we stop listening and stop being conditioned by our outside world, and we let go of those layers of conditioning and other people's opinions and limiting beliefs, we allow our light to shine fully and brightly, and we don't realize how many people we inspire through just being who we are. And you've literally said the same thing in your own words, and I just think that's just such a beautiful synergy, like of your life and mine, and what you're doing in the world. And I just think it's really incredible. And I have no doubt that you'll come to London at some point and do something book related. And when you do, let me know, because we can then actually meet up in person, because yeah, I'd love to, yeah, just keep with you on this journey, because I think it's so powerful what you're doing and creating. And yeah, it's really like wonderful to watch. And I've said that a million times now, but I really do mean it. And yeah, I think on that note, I mean, we had an overview of your life and like, what you've been through, the journey to create the book, and loads of examples of when you've trusted yourself and given yourself that permission to shine. And I know you've shared a lot of advice, but if there's one thing that you could leave us with, like a soul-led message, and I call it the soul to soul section, right now, what does your heart want to say?
Mm. Um, I have a lot of stuff that I could say, but if I can sum it up all together, like in the same category, I would say, um, do not make decisions that you regret later on, or do not try to avoid decisions that you can regret later on by not doing them. It's been always a struggle for me to trust myself and do things that now when I grew up, I kind of regret everything I didn't do and every opportunities I lost. So if I could say again to trust yourself, even if you don't have enough confidence, because this specific point kind of ruined my life before. Not having enough confidence ruined me. I couldn't defend myself. I couldn't do things that I like. I couldn't say yes to things that I had to say to, or say no to someone or to something. Um, for my own sake, but instead I said yes, and it hurt me. I don't know. I was so damaged before by not having enough confidence. And when people see you, you're not confident enough, they would hurt you more and more and more. And this was my case. And I've seen it with a lot of people in my life and in my circle. It's a fact. If you don't believe in yourself, you'll go nowhere. Basically, you'll go nowhere. Whether professionally speaking, personally speaking, friends related, relationship related, family related, doesn't matter. If you don't know how to value yourself and the things and the capacities that you have, you'll never be able to move on. You'll never be able to shine. You'll never be able to see your true worth. And these are things I've learned by the time, and I've learned them now when I grew up. I lost so many years trying to underestimate myself, trying to underestimate what I can do, what I can say, how can I defend on myself and my opinion and stuff like that. That now I basically say no to everything I want to say no to. I say yes to the things that I want to say yes to without thinking twice. And these are things that made me successful today and made me this version. So just really believe in yourself. I know it's easy to be said than done. I've heard it so many times when I was young and I didn't believe it. I didn't work on it. And now I regret it. So take it from someone who actually had such a low self-esteem and they lost a lot in life before. They didn't live such a good childhood, but now they are shining just because they trusted themselves. So self-confidence is key. You can be independent, you can be shining, you can be successful. And if you don't have this confidence, you won't have any of these things.
Yeah, thank you so much. That's so lovely. And there was something you said there that really stuck out for me. And it was, if you don't believe in yourself, you'll go nowhere. And I'll talk often about this comfort zone that we like to stay in because it feels safe.
Yeah,
But actually what you're doing is just fencing yourself in to this like sort of space where nothing grows, you know. And I think that's really what you're saying there, is the fact that, you know, just that one step at a time, you know, just believe in yourself that little bit more each time. And it does take time, but you know, that is the work I do. So if anyone's listening and they're like, how do I do that? I'm your gal, you know, I can help you do that for sure. But it is all about, you know, understanding why we feel these ways, and you know, the origin of these thoughts and these processes that have held you back. And once you understand where they come from, 9 times out of 10, it's someone else's opinion that doesn't matter anymore. You know, it's all of those things that we hold on to, isn't it? You know, maybe it's a
yeah,
bully, maybe it's an old boss, maybe it's a ex-partner. You know, all these things are other people's versions of you and not your versions of you. So when you listen to your gut, that is when you're listening to you fully. And I think that's such
that's
a
true.
beautiful like summary of like all of our conversation today. But where can people find you? You know, they want to follow you online. Do you have a website? All of those things.
Yeah, so I have an Instagram account. It's the same name as my book, The Word Through Greeny Eyes. It's all, it's not detached. It's all together. So if you can write it down, you'll totally find me. My picture is me holding my book. It's all green. So if you find a whole greeny food, a whole greeny feed, sorry, you have to edit this one.
No.
um, yeah, it's me. I've put the link to my book, the link to my Spotify, all my contacts, stuff like that. They're all in my Instagram, and this is also where people contact me to have their copy. So if ever you're around, you can contact me. If not, you can follow me and see my news. Since, as I have told you, I'm trying to make it internationally known. So if ever it will be published, you'll get to see it, you'll get to buy it, and it would be like great. um, yeah,
Yeah, amazing. And if you send me those links across as well, I'll pop them in the notes so
yeah.
everyone can access it really easily as well. So then they can listen to your podcast as well and things like that. But
Okay,
yes,
sure.
thank you so much for being on and sharing your wisdom. And, you know, I'm really excited for the chance to actually read your book when it comes, because I know it will, and I feel like it'll be soon.
Yeah,
So
it was my
I'm
pleasure.
manifesting that with you. But yeah, thank you so much. And like I said, you know, all the whole way through this, I feel so grateful to have a bird's eye view of your journey and to watch you change the world one place at a time. And you never know, maybe one day we'll do a talk together in a different platform somewhere in the world.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so. And I really want to thank you for inviting me over. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always a pleasure to push people forward and make them understand more themselves. And you're actually doing such a good job with this channel. I've heard some episodes and they are so empowering. So please keep up the good work. And I hope to see you very soon in real life. And we'll
Yeah.
get to update you guys. Like, we'll have another episode where we're actually together.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Sherisse Bisram, Inner Power Activation Leader for Women. If you are ready to up-level, to elevate, to ignite your inner flame, to burn everything you once were, to trailblaze into your future, into all of your manifestations and more, then head to my website to book a free 30-minute alignment call. I have one-to-one containers available for 90 days and 180 days. I also have an online program for 6 weeks. It's a group program for women called Permission to Shine. That's also available as a self-study as well. I have a journal available on Etsy as well as worksheets. There's multiple ways to work with me, and I'm here to help you. You deserve to shine, to be the most amazing, most confident, fearless version of yourself. What are you waiting for?